Hello and warm wishes to all my fellow Americans, wherever you live, whoever you love, and whatever you believe. My name is John Russo, and this is Stranded in Centerfield. The 2020 election season is all over, but the shouting of lawyers who have been handed the unenviable task of trying to get courts in at least 5 different states to overturn an election without any actual evidence of election fraud that can withstand the barest of judicial scrutiny. To me, it was really no surprise that President-elect Biden was able to recapture Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Because with the exception of 2016, when Democrats ran an unusually unpopular and weak presidential candidate, these 3 states have been solidly Democratic for most of the past 30 years. Joe Biden's ability to win in Georgia and in Arizona are of much greater interest for the future of American politics, because these states may or may not signal major changes in the national political scene. Arizona, birthplace of Barry Goldwater, and a state which, together with Southern California, served as the cradle of modern hard-right conservatism, and a state which voted Republican in 16 of the past 17 presidential elections. How did Joe Biden manage to win Arizona? I think there are 3 reasons, and only the first of these suggests a possible long-term change of Arizona's party leanings. That first reason is the increased engagement of Mexican American voters in reaction not only to Donald Trump, but to years of racist public policy led by several prominent GOP Arizona officials. Some context. In 2010, the Republican-dominated Arizona legislature passed, and then Republican Governor Jan Brewer signed, SB 1070. This law allowed police, upon reasonable suspicion that a person was not legally in the United States, to stop that individual and demand that person's immigration papers. The law itself is not really the problem here, and the Supreme Court held it to be constitutional as written. It is the application of such a law that causes the problem. In short, how would a law officer know to make this demand without racially profiling someone? Does anyone honestly believe that Arizona police officers will be interrogating blonde-haired, blue-eyed people out of concern that they may have illegally entered the U.S. from Sweden? Whatever you think of this law or its motives, it was received very poorly by the large number of U.S. citizens in Arizona who are of Mexican heritage. This law, together with the attention-seeking antics of Sheriff Joe Arpaio, racist, homophobic, and ridiculous, created a backlash in the Arizona Latinx community against much of the GOP. When Donald Trump began his 2016 presidential campaign by proclaiming that people attempting to enter the U.S. from Mexico were largely criminals, drug dealers, and rapists, he was echoing the kind of rhetoric that had been thrown about Arizona politics for many years already. Within his first year in the White House, President Trump pardoned Joe Arpaio, who was facing prison time for violating court orders regarding his racist and unconstitutional exercise of state power. That pardon rightfully earned Donald Trump the permanent opposition of most Arizona residents who viewed their Mexican heritage with pride. The second reason Joe Biden won Arizona may not be such a permanent dynamic. In the last week before the election, President Trump held 2 of his mask-defying, social distance-ignoring rallies in Arizona. In 2020, President Trump did not enjoy the same vote margins with senior citizen voters as he did in 2016, largely due to his mishandling of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, this loss of senior voters did not hurt President Trump in Florida, where he made up the difference among other demographic voting groups, especially Latinx voters whose family experiences in nations such as Cuba and Venezuela led them to fear the socialist wing of the Democratic Party. But in Arizona, the president had already willfully lost the Mexican American vote, so the loss of senior voters, as well as the nationwide erosion of his suburban support, cost him dearly. But even with all of this, Donald Trump might have still prevailed in Arizona, even in the face of all of these negative trends, had he not been such a jerk regarding John McCain. When Donald Trump, a draft dodger, had the chutzpah to criticize John McCain for being captured and enduring torture as a POW in the Hanoi Hilton during the Vietnam War, he lost Republican votes in Arizona. When a White House aide in 2018 dismissed a dying McCain's opinion regarding the nomination of a new CIA director with the ugly retort, "It doesn't matter, he's dying anyway," and then the White House refused to condemn or even deny the remark, Trump lost Republican votes in Arizona. When Donald Trump initially refused to fly the flag at half-mast during McCain's funeral, continued to insult McCain after he was dead, and then went after the man's widow when she, quite understandably, endorsed Joe Biden for president, Donald Trump lost votes in Arizona. Nationally, the Democrats have every right to celebrate Joe Biden's win, as well as celebrating astronaut Mark Kelly's Senate victory over the hapless Trumpista Martha McSally. But they shouldn't celebrate for very long, because there's an important fact about the vote in Maricopa County, and Maricopa County represents more than half of all voters in Arizona. Every Republican statewide candidate won the vote in Maricopa County. Those candidates received about 100,000 votes more than Trump and McSally did. In the next several elections, we will see whether the rapid growth of the suburbs around Phoenix, together with the increasing power of Mexican-American voting, indicates that Arizona is turning to blue, or whether this election was an act of karmic justice instigated by the laughing ghost of Senator John McCain. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please leave your civil comments and suggestions below. This is John Russo saying, I'm not stranded, and neither are you. There are millions of Americans standing together here in Centerfield. Until next week.